It is not happening for the Mumbai Indians. Even if you feel like they were in it, in the chase, and that Devil Brevis and Tilak Varma, an unlikely young pair, had managed to turn things around for them, there was this fear with a team that's batting effectively ends at Kieron Pollard, batting at number 6. Will they be able to chase something close to 200? The answer to that, at least tonight, is that they couldn't. So let's see where this game turned. The Punjab Kings pick up the points. Odin Smith is bowled, well, in the end, on paper, a terrific last over. He's ended up with 4 wickets, but plenty of moments to discuss and look back on. We'll do that on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by IQ 95G. Lynn and Sanjay Manjrekar. Tell me your first reaction after this chase. Have Punjab done well to defend it? Have Mumbai choked it?
Good game. Another good IPL night, and shows when the pitches are, fast and bouncy. You get to watch not just close matches, but some, excellence in batting as well. Some of the innings that we've seen so far in the IPL have been tremendous today as well. But, Punjab Kings deserved winners. They got the runs on the board. And despite, at one stage, one bowler going for 29 runs, where it suddenly seemed like Mumbai Indians could, chase this down, that they managed in the end to win the game is well done to them. But lots of twists and turns, highly watchable game. That's my first reaction.
All right. Lynn, what about yours? Is this a game where Punjab's quality has prevailed, or have Mumbai's unforced errors, run-outs, soft dismissals cost them?
Yeah, I think the unforced errors, in a game of cricket, I don't believe in running outs, especially when you're a batter short, like with Kieron Pollard getting run out and being the last so-called batter as such. So for me, it's just not necessary. So a couple of unforced errors just gifted Punjab there. And like my prediction, if KG Rabada could finish it off, then I think Punjab were going to be too strong. But yeah, all in all, a great game. The roller coasters, everyone would have been on the edge of their seat. I'm not sure who everyone would have wanted to win, but there's a very happy Punjab camp at the moment.
Yeah. I'd like to pick on individual moments with both of you, and I'll do that in just a bit. But since, Chris, you started by talking about Mumbai's unforced errors, we keep talking about how this is so unlike Mumbai Indians, the way they approach the auction, the way they've shown faith or not shown faith in players. These run-outs, the comfortable positions, these errors from players like Surya Kumar Yadav, Kieron Pollard. What's this? Is this just a result of a losing team?
Well, that's what I just think, as I keep saying, they're well prepared normally off the field. So they can just take that on the field and just do it by instinct. But I just think they're just behind the 8 ball a little bit. And that's through a little bit of panic, a little bit of, friction amongst the team off the field, and whether or not that's the new team coming together, because in the past, Mumbai have known to be one of the tightest families, in the IPL. Whether or not they played one game or 100 games together. And again, I'll touch on it again, other boys are a little bit flat. When you're a little bit flat, you're a little bit reactive rather than, a couple of steps ahead where they normally are. And Rohit, I think, is doing that. Even though we got a couple of runs tonight, the first couple of shots that he played wasn't really Rohit Sharma of old that we saw when he's scoring runs. So for me, I just think they're a little bit reactive at the moment, and teams are too good at the moment. Teams are out there to target Mumbai Indians, and you know what, they're doing a good job of it so far.
Let's pick those moments then in that chase. Let's go to over number 13 first up. 68 of 44, Tilak Varma and Surya Kumar Yadav with Kieron Pollard to come. And the first of those unforced errors, the run out. How big a moment was that?
Massive moment, because at that time, when you looked at the equation, you were surprised. The advantage that Brevis gave with that 29 run and over, it suddenly became very manageable. And at that time, Tilak Varma and Surya Kumar Yadav, great partnership, and it was there for them to just stroll it with the comfort factor of Pollard being there, the batter yet to come. Run out at that stage was a gift, and then to make it even worse was Pollard getting run out.
Yeah.
It wasn't his fault. He saw Surya Kumar Yadav race for the second out of niceness to respond to his partner. He was going to the far end. He thought, let me help him out, because a run out at the far end. Rarely happens, but that happened. And you're right. I think that's a good point. 2 run-outs at crucial stages is something you don't see with Mumbai Indians.
Yep.
It's something about being a champion side, winning side. You don't get these second thoughts or this anxiety when you're chasing, scores. If you're winning match after match, that little anxiety that is lurking inside is buried deep. It's resurfacing constantly now because of the kind of season that they've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, 68 or 44 at that stage. And the equation when Pollard got run out was 48 of 23. You think both still within the range of the players that we're talking about? Take me through both run-outs, Chris Lynn, in terms of what's happened, which batter at fault, if any.
I just think it's a panic of the scoreboard. So you've got to put both batters. But a bloke that's played 500 plus T20 games in Corin Pollard, you're going to have to, regardless whose call it is, I think I'm looking at him. And you know what? He will know that as well. He's a bloke that, when Mumbai have lost consecutive games in the past, pulls everyone up and, everyone starts to point fingers here and there. But he looks in first, and I think that's the most crucial thing. So both blokes that got run out, I'm looking at those guys. But again, you shouldn't have to put yourself in that position for the sake of one run in that position. You've seen guys like Polly and Sky do this time after time, chase down, what is it, 50 off, say, 25 balls, many times. So to sacrifice just one run, like, come on, guys, like the best way, you don't have to earn that wicket, basically. And any time that Kieran Pollard's walking off the field and you haven't had to physically bowl him out is a win for any team.
The singles that were tried or stolen that didn't work. And what about the singles that were there but weren't taken? Let's go to our next set of moments, shall we? 33 was needed, 49 of 4. That's when that 17th over started, when Pollard got run out. It ended 33 of 18. Very gettable, you think, because Surya Kumar Yadav has hit Vaibhav Arora for 2 incredible sixes. I'd like your reaction. I saw your reaction firsthand, but take me through the reaction to those 2 sixes and then what happened after when he was in a position to take Mumbai home and decided to refuse a run to Jaydev Unadkat.
Yeah, this is why my first reaction after this result has been about how wonderful the batting has been so far in the IPL. I wish I could take you right now and back to those 2 shots that he played, but these are shots that you rarely see in T20 cricket, and this is where Surya Kumar Yadav just blows your mind away. There was a ball that was full and quick, almost Yorker length and off stump, very close to off stump, and he sort of digs into it. This timing, there's wrist work, and the ball sails into the stand. There was one earlier as well. 2 just unbelievable shots. But slight error, I thought, with Rabada bowling and with Jaydev Unadkat at the other end. Him wanting to take strike was perhaps a call at the time that he could have said, Rabada is a difficult one to get away. If I have to retain strike for all balls, let it be against Odean Smith. And then he just made the pressure grew, where he took it upon himself at that stage to get a big over of Rabada. These are slight errors, though. But in the end, you've got to say again, Surya Kumar Yadav, Brevis, got them very close. But not good enough.
Let's go to Chris Lynn for that then. 22 of 10 is when he turns down the single. I guess it doesn't help that Jaydev Unadkat hit the first ball of the next over 6 to show that he possibly can bat. Was that an error, a big error from Surya, Chris?
Yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it looked like Rabada was nailing his Yorker there. So, Sky was only ever going to get singles, I believe, off him unless he played a lap over the keeper. Therefore, I think he should have taken the single, and then Jaydev has got, basically free hits the whole time. But yeah, hindsight is wonderful, and when you're out in the heat of the battle, your brain works very differently. So I'm sure they'll reflect on that. I know I wouldn't like to be in the Mumbai change room right now because I've seen Mahela explode. Not to mention we saw Akash on the big screen a couple of times. So yeah, they're going to have a lot of sort of soul searching to start.
I'm just getting...
While the run chase was happening, and you're talking about all these moments as well, what was the big thing that was still sort of not getting us convinced that Mumbai Indians could win this, is that the moment Pollard was gone, Jaydev Unadkat is the next batter to walk in.
Yeah.
And that was something that we were all aware of. If not Unadkat, it would have been M. Ashwin. The Mumbai Indians of old would have had somebody like a Krunal Pandya coming in at that stage, and they would think that there is some hope. So just uh, clearly one batter short, but that was always something that was going to hamper them in this run chase. It was a big run chase, and thanks to a couple of innings, they came close, but just the lack of depth had to come into play, and it did in the end.
Yeah. I'm just seeing some reaction on social media on that turn, that single that wasn't taken. It seems like Surya took off, and it was Jaydev Unadkat who turned the single down. That's very interesting. If that is what happened, not sure if we got the right pictures for it. But it does seem like Unadkat was the one who told Surya. Regardless, Sanjay Manjrekar's point is a valid one. The fact that Mumbai were put in that situation effectively by their own team selection, where the number 7 is a player of Unadkat's batting abilities, with due respect to him. That's not something we see across the IPL or in T20 cricket. I'll just get your thoughts on those 2 shots, though, from Surya Kumar Yadav of Vaibhav Arora, Chris. I guess batters like to target zones and pick their spots. I wonder what you would have thought in that situation. This is where I want to hit my sixes. Surya, seems incredible that he hits those, right? Those carves or slices through the offside. How hard is that?
Yeah, well, he's got incredible hands. We know he likes getting inside the ball and flicking it over fine leg, but the way he can maneuver his hands and open them up and hit over that offside, and I think he's got like rubber band balls in his cricket bat because they absolutely sound magnificent when you're in the nets with him. But then the ball just pings off it. And guys like Ishan Kishan, they hit the ball so far. And Brevis, I think he struck one 112 meters tonight. I'm thinking, surely I'm bigger than him, but he's whacking them miles. So these youngsters coming through, they're hitting the ball further and further, but Sky's doing it with a touch of class, not just raw power. We see guys like Andre Russell, Dubé last night, that's just sheer power. Sky's doing it with class and caressing the ball with precision.
Sanjay.
Yeah, this is my favorite sort of occupation.
Yes.
Getting deeper into those shots that he plays. And Surya Kumar Yadav. To begin with, there is the pace of the bowler that gives you the advantage. And then he's using the pace of the bowler. So there's wonderful wrist that Lynn talks about where, he gets the ball in that direction. But the key aspect and why he gets that kind of distance every time is when he's doing all that, the ball is hitting the middle of the bat.
Yep.
You can hit sixes with that kind of shot using the pace of the bowler by not middling the bat as well. But Surya has this great knack where every time he plays all these fancy shots, they're coming off the middle of the bat using the pace of the bowler. And that's why I believe the coverage of the IPL must have hotspot in it, because that will give people an idea as to where exactly the ball is hit. You'll see so many sixes from Pollard that would come from the bottom of the bat or nowhere close to the middle of the bat. With Surya, those shots, the artistry that you see with him, the key also is that it comes invariably from the middle of the bat.
Yep. Once he hit those sixes, brought the equation down to 33 of 3 overs. Now you think if you go for another over of 12, 15, that maybe then Surya Kumar Yadav is taking singles. But that didn't happen because Arshdeep Singh bowled that next over and conceded just 5. How big was that over?
See, nobody's going to be talking about Arshdeep Singh after that. I don't think nobody interviewed him. Odian Smith, 4 wickets, everyone talk about that. Wow. But the guys who really made a difference with the ball was Rabada. The 2 wickets that he's picked up, there's one of Rohit Sharma and there's another big wicket that he took later on. So 2 huge wickets. And Arshdeep Singh, just to give you an idea to the viewers as well, the first over went for 12, the second at the start of the innings went for 9 from Rabada. Arshdeep gets the ball, concedes 4. And the 17th over, just conceded, as you mentioned, 5 runs. So this is a guy who has been doing this for years now. And those are the little contributions where the match is slipping away from you. A 5-run over in that kind of a run chase with a set batter out there. In fact, Surya, during that over, decided, forget it. Come, take the single because I can't get this guy away. So that's, the ultimate sort of hats off to the bowler.
Yeah, I mean, different game. If Arshdeep goes for a 13, 14 run over there, and that's the second game running now he's done that, Chris. He may not show up on that summary scorecard because he has no wickets. You have to say that 18th over was massive in how the rest of the game played out.
Yeah, huge in the context of the game, but I just like the way he's owning his game as well and wants the ball in the death overs. We know he swings the ball beautifully up front. He's got the ball that, the 3/4 seam that goes away from the right hander as well. But the fact that he's, happy to go over and around the wicket at his own accord when he feels comfortable to, or feels like when the batsman's got the knack of what he's going to bowl. So, hats off to Damien Wright and Ashdeep, with their bowling plans and execution. But there's nothing better than having a bowler, wanting the ball in your hands, and that's what it looks like is happening. And when you want the ball, you've got confidence, and then you stick to your plan A, and then your execution, you very rarely miss your margin.
Two quick points on captaincy of Mayank Agarwal as well. Impressive. After Rahul Chahar went for so many, he didn't quite completely get disillusioned with him. He didn't, I guess, have too many other options as well. But he went back to him, and when he bowled in the final over, there was the danger of Pollard and Surya Kumar Yadav out there, but he still bowled in the final over. And great comeback by Chahar, 29 in his first, and then 474. And then when he had that option of who's going to bowl the 20th, who's going to bowl the 17th, made the right choice again, kept the most vulnerable, potentially vulnerable bowler to bowl the 20th. So good captaincy too.
Yep. On Arshdeep, just one final word from him. His name isn't often mentioned of, is he going to be in the probable squad for the Indian team? But player of his ability, it's not a fluke. We've seen it over a few years now. Left armour, bowls at the death, can't be far away.
No, and I think, India keeps going back to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Wonderful bowler. He has been. But today, if you compare Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Arshdeep, much better bowler to have in a T20 side. Certainly in the top 5, you think, certainly a place in the squad. He must be wondering, what more do I have to do? Because today was another night where you're looking at people like Surya Kumar Yadav virtually saying, I can't hit this guy off, might as well take off a single. Yeah. That's something you do against Bumrahs and the Lasith Malingas of the past. So.
Well, brilliant then from Arshdeep Singh. We can't possibly end this show regardless of the result without talking about Devil Brevis and how he took on Rahul Chahar. So let's Chris Lynn enjoy himself now. He knows what it's like to tonk a bowler 1, 2, 3, 4 times in an over. He's going to run a ball, I think, at that stage. It was an over that just completely shifted the momentum of the game at that point. Chris, take me through that over.
Yeah, well, first of all, he was no runs off 8 balls. So imagine a 19-year-old kid. Imagine that your eyes spinning. So for him to keep his measure, then he went back-to-back boundaries, and then he got in his groove against Chahar. Again, being a youngster, when you hit that first boundary, I think his mindset, he finds it hard at the moment to go back down the gears. And tell you what, don't bother when you can hit them like that. I like the way, the length that he's getting out to the ball with the spinners. He's not short arm jabbing, the slog sweep. He's thinking nice and long, making a good long contact, which is why he's hitting the ball miles. He understands and identifies that there's not much spin in the wicket. So he can hit through the line of the ball. And for a young kid, I've been very impressed so far. I would have loved to see him get 50 and obviously see the game out. But you know what? He's going to learn from that. And he's going to have the support of his teammates now and feel a lot more comfortable around the group. So I think that's a big thing, being a young kid on the side. Guys like Polly, the skipper, Bourne, they're all going to get around him. He's going to feel much more comfortable, and hopefully we can see him ride them home and get a not out over the next game or two to get their first win, because they're going to start to get desperate and weird things are going to happen.
Sanjay?
112-meter 6, so he's right at the top of that list, and people would have also seen him in that list once again down the order in the top 5 longest hits so far. He features twice, so that immediately gets your attention from the Indian fans, especially. Okay, who is this Brevis? Also, there's the flip side. The bowler will be thinking, I gave him enough room to free his arms. Although he was going leg side, he had that luxury of being able to free his arms, and like Chris said, the big swing is possible when you are sort of the ball is outside the off stump. Chahal in his position after 1-6 would have immediately got closer on middle stump, and I think that's a note a lot of bowlers will be making now, that he is suddenly on the scanner of a lot of bowlers.
All right, excellent from Devil Brevis. If he and Tim David are competing for one spot, you could possibly see why the management seems to be backing a player of Devil Brevis's caliber and ability. But is this a problem now, Chris? Sanjay speaks about the lack of batting depth. We brought it up too. Surely they envisioned this very game. We're going a batter short. We will win the toss and bowl. We will likely have to chase 200, and we should be getting the job done. But it hasn't happened. Where do the Mumbai Indians go from here?
Well, you're going to have to look at the depth of the squad, and I haven't seen the full squad. I'll be honest. So they're going to need an extra batter in there for sure. We're seeing Bumrah come back to his best, so that's a huge sign. We're seeing Rohit hit a couple out of the middle, another great sign. So hopefully these two guys can be the leaders of the pack, and then just. I think once they do that, those key moments like the run outs, the guys in fielding positions, this will all start to click together, and then hopefully see a bit of a momentum change and an attitude change as well. So, not necessarily going in with a total different lineup and different players, but just seeing these guys get back to form is a big one for me.
I guess the names that we throw up now, they've got Fabian Allen, who has not featured yet. Daniel Sams is clearly out of favour if he has recovered from that stomach bug. And otherwise, you're searching from the uncapped Indian players if anyone gives that balance. We've already mentioned Tim David, who seems to have fallen out of favour with bat, and they don't trust to do a job with Paul. How would you go about it, Sanjay? Fabian Allen or someone else?
I don't think that is going to change their fortunes too much, but if they have to address this batting issue, they still have the luxury of playing a foreign player without having to drop another foreign player. So somebody like a Fabian Allen, who can be a bit like Krunal Pandya was for them, that's one way they could go. I don't think there is any chance of Tim David now coming in and taking a batting position. They need somebody down at number 7 who's better than Jaydev Unadkat as a batter. So they'll have to look at that. But when I'm looking at the options that they have, not too many. So yeah, that's one foreign player option that they have.
It doesn't make for happy reading. They have won an IPL title after winning their first 5. Unlikely as it may be, if any team is to garner some sort of optimism after this sort of start, it is the Mumbai Indians. But this is not the team that the Mumbai Indians used to be. Right, big thank you to Chris Lynn and Sanjay Manjrekar. Before we relieve them, let's have a look at the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day. And let's see how many of you got this right. Who's going to hit the most sixes in tonight's match between Punjab and Mumbai? 27% of you went for Surya Kumar Yadav. A number of you thought Liam Livingston, he didn't last long. Johnny Best also didn't quite last long. And the correct answer at the end of it all was young Devil Brevis. So someone else, Devil Brevis will feature in that. I think next time he should probably feature as an option of his own if he keeps this sort of form. 5 sixes to the young South African. That's pretty much it. Join us tomorrow again, just after the toss for Gujarat against Rajasthan. Promises to be a good one. Mumbai Indians find themselves lonely at the bottom of the IPL points table, having lost 5 out of 5. The Super Kings now holding at least a couple of points above them. It's all to do for Rohit Sharma and Maila Jayawardena. I'll see what they do with the next time the Mumbai Indians take the field. They'll be very happy to get out of the MCA Stadium in Pune. They're done with their games there. They've not won a single one. Let's see if the stadiums in Mumbai hold slightly better fortune for the Mumbai Indians. Join us tomorrow then on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by IQ 9 5G. Good night.